Hey folks, this is Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist, and in this case I'm going to be showing you guys how to sharpen properly these small tiny blades that we sometimes have in pocket or even keychain knives or multi-tools. The thing is that since these little knives are so handy and we usually have them around just because you have them in your keychain and such, you end up using them quite a bit. Many times you just don't want to bring out a bigger pocket knife or even a multi-tool. You just want something that doesn't attract that much attention. Unfortunately, it's the way the world is as of right now, so we usually find ourselves doing that. If maybe you're out and about and you're in a coffee shop, in a restaurant, or at your workplace, and you just have to open something and the reality clashes with politically correctness and you just need a knife, right? But you're not supposed to have one because it just doesn't seem to be that much acceptance to a tool that happens to be so handy. So instead of bringing out a bigger knife, you just use a little keychain multi-tool such as these. Now, the thing is that this ends up happening so much, and frankly, they are quite handy. The more you use it, the less edge you'll have there. So you have to sharpen them. Now, there's a little bit of a difference in how you sharpen these knives and how you sharpen bigger ones. Again, this is just me. This is what has been working for me so far, which is for quite a bit of time actually. You may have a completely different method. That's just okay. What I at least find is that for bigger knives, you usually end up using a sharpening stone, or a diamond coated stone or file of some sort. For small tiny knives, sometimes that's you just don't need that much material being removed. It's just about touching it up a little bit. So I'm going to be showing you a few of the tools I usually use, and sometimes it may be just this. This is a stick. It's just a little bit. It's just a stick, and as you see, there's a little bit of black marks here on the side. This is because for when sharpening bigger knives, after sharpening them properly, what I sometimes do is just this, on the sides like that. What this achieves is basically removing some of the little barbs left by maybe a diamond coated stone or some other sharpening stone. And you do notice when you test it, actually you see that it just cuts better after touching it up a little bit like that. Now, I also noticed that in some knives that don't need that much work being done, for example, this Victorinox Executive, if it's just a matter of touching it up a little bit, using this same stick that has these small particles of grit, of metal, and of the stone itself, this works like a little bit of a polishing paste of its own in this stick. And just doing this, I noticed that it just gives a little bit more of a bite to the edge, So maybe if the knife has lost a little bit of the edge, maybe it's still cutting paper, but it's not cutting it as nicely. Touching it up like that a little bit usually brings out the edge nicely again, and it cuts with more authority through whatever it is you're cutting. For any of these little knives, this is usually a good solution. I have this little stick there in my desk, and whenever I see that a knife is losing a little bit of its edge, I just touch it up a little bit like that. Usually a few passes on either side is enough. If maybe it needs a little bit more work, then I would bring out my little nail file. This is the one that women use for polishing their nails. If you just do like that in the nail, it just leaves it like polished. And I've shown this before many times. It's like a buffering board, and it does the same thing in blades as well. The reason why it works on both nails and knives is that the coating that these little things have, it's the exact same material, very hard little particles that you will find in sharpening stones. So it's the same thing, the only thing that is coating a soft foam pad. And with some of the knives that need a little bit more work, you just pass it like that. Well, this isn't a smaller one, but maybe one of these that needs a little bit more material being removed on either side. Just passing it like that. I'm using the flat roll of duct tape, just maybe the side of a book, something so as to elevate the pad a little bit. Passing it a few times like that usually is enough, and it leaves nice sharp edge, cutting nicely. Right. Well, you may be thinking this is a pretty new PS4, Leatherman PS4, but I'm doing the same thing with this quite older Squirt P4. As you see, it has been used quite a bit. I actually bought this one used several years ago, so the same thing works for this one. This little knife came with very little edge left on it, and just a little bit of care like this is gonna be enough. On either side. If you do this more often, if you do this every now and then, usually you don't need that much work. You just constantly keep a nice edge on it, and a few passes is going to be enough. Same thing here, right? Older knife, still cuts nicely, and you can do some nicer detail with it. Maybe if the knife is needing a little bit more work, I will break out the little Victorinox pocket sharpener. You have these guys. I'm going to be leaving a link for this one below. Pretty sure you find it still in Amazon, so I'm going to be leaving the Amazon link below. I'll also see if I find these ones, because sometimes you guys ask where you get these. These are available in any beauty store, like any of those salons that sell women's stuff and nail paint. But I'll try finding a link and leaving it below as well. With this one, you can remove a little bit more material. This one works also, of course, for bigger knives as well. But if I find that I've lost too much of an edge, or maybe have a little dent somewhere that I have to remove it, a few passes along the stone is usually enough. I like, after using this one, I like going back to this one that leaves a little bit of a finer edge, or even with my old with a little stick, doing just like that. Just to, again, polish it a little bit, remove some of those little barbs, maybe even not even noticeable to the naked eye, but they are there, and you see that you will be cutting with a bit more authority after doing that. This stone also has, these are pretty good, made in Germany. These have also like that V-shaped form made with ceramic inserts. Very rarely I will be using this. I find that it doesn't leave as an even edge as I like, so usually I will not do this unless unless there really has to be quite a bit of material to be taken away. I like having more control by using the ceramic rod instead, and not depend on that weird shape, which has an angle that may not be that right. So yeah, generally I will go for something like this and not use that V-shaped, even though you may try it out, see how well it works for you or for that specific angle that you have in that specific knife. But in general, if you do things yourself, you will have nicer results. Removing a little bit of those particles left. And that should be it. So folks, that's basically it. Those are my little tricks for sharpening tiny small blades. Try it out, see what works best for you and for that specific blade shape, that specific steel. That's it guys for now. Take care, have a great day. See you in our next video.